What the hell? Was this some kind of joke? If so, I wasn't laughing. If this pool of blood all belonged to one person, then why was her cell phone ringing right next to it? Welcome back to this Irae. Well, last time Kay stopped us before we could call Kasumi and seems like gets our price since she is our executioner, killing people so Ren can get stronger. So let's hear his answer to claiming his price. How long did she plan to keep on rambling about this bullshit? I don't give a damn about your circumstances. In that case, will you die here as just one?
何度も言うけど、私以外の年寄りたちはコンプレックスの塊よ。あなたがコンマ1以下でも叩き潰して自分が上だと証明をしたがってる。
Like I've already said a million times, they are all a bunch of old-timers harboring various complexes. Even if you were less than 0.1, they would still want to pulverize you just to prove their superiority. Strange word. It would be best for you to assume that there won't be too many ideal chances to level up like this in the future. Even the divine vessel, who's been soft on you, will probably only show you mercy one more time. Even if I personally could restrain myself any more, would surely incite the wrath of Bay and Malleus.
そうなった時、多分標的はあなただけじゃ済まなくなるわよ。彼女も当然その中には含まれていて。
When that happens, they probably won't stop with just you. Naturally, she will be one of them too. Everyone around me would be targeted by these psychos.
この街が地図から消える。
The city will be wiped clean of the map.
黙れって言ってんだろ!
I've told you to shut your mouth. Though I made an attempt to grab her, Sakurai gracefully dodged it, putting some distance between us. She then heaved a bored sigh before continuing her monologue in a tone of indifference.
それを止めたいなら、早く2になってしまえばいい。
If you don't want that to happen, hurry up and become 2.
あなたがそうなることで、彼女も普通に戻るだろうし。
She should return to normal if you do that.
男の専売特許じゃない。女から奪い取ってものにするのは。
Robbing a woman of what's hers is a man's specialty, isn't it?
私たちが種に気づいてしまった以上、もう二手に分かれている意味はないし。
Now that we've seen through your trick, there's no longer a point to keeping it divided in two.
これから先は、あなたが一人でやればいい。彼女のことを思うなら、殺し役をさっさと廃業させてあげなさい。
You should do it yourself from this point onward. If you truly care about your friend, then retire her from the role of executioner.
それが終わるまでは浮気しちゃダメよ、藤井君。抱きしめるなら私より彼女が先ね。
Oh, and no cheating until that ends, Fuji. If you're going to sleep with someone, she ought to be your first pick. Not me.
ちょっと焼けるけど、そこは譲るわ。だってあの子、あなたが1週間も禁欲なんかしていたせいで暴発しちゃったんだから。
I'm a bit jealous, but I'll let it slide. After all, you've set her off by being absent for a whole week.
追いかけて抱きしめて慰めてあげないと、男が廃るってものじゃないの？
You'll shame yourself as a man if you don't go after her. Hold her in your arms and comfort her, won't you?
じゃあ、頑張って。かっこいいとこ見せてちょうだい。
Well, best of luck. Do try to show us what you're made of.
待て!
Wait. I reached out for her again, but Sakurai vanished before I could grab her. Judging from her final words, She wasn't going back, but rather to keep watch somewhere, apparently.
くそ
Damn it. The hell? What made her think she could just spout off whatever crap she wanted? What was all that shit about price or whatever? Seriously?
くそ
God damn it. I nearly smashed myself into the ground but managed to rein in my anger at the last second. Right. Sakurai didn't have to say anything. Deep down, I'd already noticed her strange behavior as of late. Still, I couldn't just accept that. If I was to label her insane, then saying that I was crazy seemed a far more reasonable answer. Kasumi was sane. She was different from idiots like Shira and me. I believed that. Wanted to believe that. And that nature of hers was exactly what made me treasure her more than anyone else. So I couldn't just throw the cell phone away. If I broke it here, it'd be like admitting I was scared to find out the truth. That would be an offense and above all else an insult to Kasumi. I had to put an end to this ridiculous situation to protect her honor. Whatever that sound was, I gritted and ground my teeth hard, causing blood to pour out my mouth. I dialed the number Kasumi gave me earlier, while getting irritated at my finger for shaking from the cold. You're still dialing and it's ringing already? Okay. Come on, hurry up, please. Just pick up already. If I can just hear your cheerful voice,
くそ何してんだあいつ
Damn it, what the hell is she doing? Growing impatient, I broke off into a run, the cell phone still ringing in my hand. By doing this, I'd know when I was getting closer to her. This late into the night, the sound of rainfall was the only thing filling my ears. Where was she? Where did she go? I wanted to see her face and hear her voice to tell her I was okay. I dashed through the streets in the rain for several minutes, my clothes completely drenched. The minutes I spent like this could have been either much longer or shorter than how it felt. I'd grown so impatient I could no longer accurately grasp the flow of time. What would I say when I found her? How would I look at her? How was I supposed to act? Could a guy of so few words and feelings like me get across my emotions properly? My body cooled. Heat left me. My breath turned white and my heart raced with impatience. I kept panting and running only to trip up in a puddle of water. I fell pathetically to the ground. I placed my hand on the ground in an attempt to stand up, but my hand was so slippery from the water that it was hard to do. Damn it, what kind of water was this? All sticky, smelly and heavy like what? My clothes were dirty, my hands a mess. What was this eerie sensation, this unsettling color? This red blood like... Why wasn't this a dream? This wasn't either an hallucination or an illusion. It wasn't deluded, and I certainly wasn't just imagining things. The scent of rusty iron, particular to blood, pierced my nostrils as I heard that. Familiar ringtone. What the hell? Was this some kind of joke? If so, I wasn't laughing. If this pool of blood all belonged to one person, then why was her cell phone ringing right next to it? No. Wait. She must have just dropped her phone around here by accident. She always had been surprisingly clumsy and careless, so that had to be it. Yeah. She was probably freaking out about it right now, wondering why she had lost it. That's right. That had to be what happened. Man, she was such a handful. Well, I figured I'd just take it with me and bring it back to her. I'd already grown used to being a victim of her clumsiness anyway. Thanks to that, it'd be harder to find her. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I'd search the entire city all night if I had to, screw tomorrow's classes. But I had to find Kasumi's phone first. It was probably lying around in those bushes there. No doubt about it. That had to be it. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it at all. But even though I desperately wished for that to be the case... Oh, Ren, you're here. The last morsel of hope I still had left was shattered by her voice, its echo filling my eardrums and cranium. Only one thought still remained in my mind, that there was no God. Even if there was, he had probably long since died, because if he was still alive, I'd kill him with my own 2 hands. Why did something like this happen? Why was I seeing this? I felt like gorging out my own eyes, wanting desperately to erase this memory. To me, at the very least, the sight felt equal to the most maddening of nightmares. Dull eyes, a blank expression, a stiff body. My childhood friend, soaked in blood and rain. Who was that random person lying there without a head? What are you doing? My voice sounded like someone else's, and though it trembled ever so slightly, it remained blindingly clear. About as clear as this whole situation. Someone had died. They had been murdered. Thoroughly and relentlessly, no doubt about it. Kasumi stood right next to them, her whole body wet with spurts of blood. She was carrying a severed head in one hand. No matter how one looked at it, there was only one conclusion to be made. If you didn't do it, right? Kasumi returned to my unbelievably stupid question with a blank stare. She tilted her head to the side, causing the one in her hand to wobble.
お前何もやってないよな。たまたまここでそんな変なの見つけたから、なんとなくその好奇心で。
You didn't do anything, right? You just happened to find this weird thing here, so you got curious, and the more I talked, the more I wanted to die. Something just even I believed could never work as my trump card. I felt self-loathing well up in my chest with every word I uttered in a desperate attempt to deny the situation. God damn it. It had already been set in stone. There was nothing I could do about it. Kasumi Ayase was the killer, but still, so what? I knew her well. Kasumi Ayase was Ren Fuji's childhood friend. She was not someone who would kill dozens of people. Even if her hands had been tainted, I didn't believe that she could ever do that out of her own will. According to Sakurai, she was akin to a marionette used to provide me with souls, experience, a puppet.
だから何が悪いってんだ。
What's wrong with that? Laws didn't matter, morals didn't mean a damn. I wouldn't let anyone in this world blame Kasumi. She'd done nothing wrong. On my scale, protecting Kazumi's individual life weighed 1,000,000 times heavier than the chagrin of the murdered, or the pain and sorrow of the bereaved families. They could go to hell for all I cared. The living mattered more than the dead. If I didn't protect her now, another decisive push would be all it took to send her falling. So...
帰ろう、かすみ。後引くぞ。
Let's go home, Kasumi. You'll catch a cold. I stopped dialing Kazumi's number and took a step forward, my guard completely down. Thank you for stopping that, by the way. It was annoying. I saw no reason to be on alert. And yet, something invisible sliced into my cheek. The finale of our prologue draws nigh. I have offered this opera to both my sworn friend and beloved. Go now, my substitute, become the lead actor and dance upon its stage to your heart's content.
どうして
Why? What just happened? There were about 5 meters between Kasumi and me, so we couldn't have touched each other physically, and it wasn't like she had thrown anything either. And yet, there was blood pouring down my torn cheek. The pain it had left I had felt for but a moment was no doubt caused by a sharp blade of sorts. Now, how in the world did... No. The bigger question was the why of it. Why did Kasumi...
男の専売特許じゃない。女から奪い取って物にするのは。
Robbing a woman of what's hers is a man's specialty, isn't it?
これから先はあなたが一人でやればいい。
You should do it yourself from this point onwards. Sakurai's voice replied in my head. In other words, I had to stop Kasumi while she was still in this state and prove myself to be the master. I gained some distance between us by instinctively dodging the invisible thing, but the chaos enveloping my mind had yet to let up.
彼女のことを思うなら殺し役をさっさと廃業させてあげなさい。
If you truly care about your friend, then retire her from the role of executioner. Sakurai urged me to claim it for myself. If I was to take those words at face value, she probably meant that I had to render Kasumi powerless, and I would have loved to do that even without having to end up in a situation like this. A single glance at Kazumi's dull, unfocused eyes made it clear she was in a trance. The fact she attacked me in a state like that could only mean that she was being controlled. Unless I cut her strings now, she'd just start killing again. At the very least, I had to prevent that from happening. But how? Ren? Kasumi sluggishly raised her right hand with the same blank expression as before. Be sure to dodge this, okay? Another invisible slash. Once again I relied on my instincts to leap away, but ended up receiving a slash to the chest this time around. And it didn't stop there. 4 more slashes followed. I couldn't quite confirm this due to the invisible state, but a direct hit from the decapitating slashes that merely grazed me a moment before would no doubt kill me instantly. From its vicious ferocity, lethal progress, and odd obstinacy to constantly aim for the neck, regardless of the angle, I concluded this blade to be that of a guillotine, much like the one in my dream. It was an instrument of execution that existed for the sole purpose of beheading its victims. I kept rolling and avoiding the decapitating blade, finding myself cornered by its incessant barrage of slashes. The slashes, traces of which I felt on my skin, seemed haphazard and disorganized. Hardly something I could attribute to a diligent kendo student like Kasumi. That, however, made them difficult to predict, and I soon found my body whittling down with each slash I felt to dodge. Each burning, freezing, and numbing slash that hit me sent me another step closer to death. Surges of unnaturally intense pain ran through me. They were clad in deadly poison, which meant they weren't simply cutting my flesh. They reaped and devoured something far more basic, something fundamental for all living beings to exist. As such, even a mere craze would continue to rob me of life without halt, ultimately resulting in my death. Amidst the maddening pain and fear that made me want to scream, every single drop of falling rain felt like a storm in itself. But no matter how much pain and fear I endured, that self-centered reason would not drive me to back down, and at this rate...
どうしたの?
What's wrong? Kasumi gave a curious look when she realized that I'd stopped moving. There was no doubt that I'd die instantly if she attacked now, but I shut out my fear with all my might, for my heart burned with feelings far stronger than that.
ねえよ
I can't do it.
お前に手なんかあげられない
I can't bring myself to hurt you. Those were my true feelings, nothing else mattered.
俺のせいなんだろう俺が変なやつだからたまたま近くにいたお前がそんな目に遭ってんだろうだったらお前は被害者だ
It's my fault, isn't it? You went through all this because you happen to be close to someone abnormal like me, right? That makes you a victim. If only I hadn't seen it on that fateful day. Kasumi shouldn't have gone through any of this. She should have been enjoying her normal life the same way she always had. She did nothing wrong. She was sane. She simply ended up drawing the short end of the stick by getting caught up in the situation. And I was supposed to attack her for something like that? I couldn't use magic, superpowers or hypnotism. If I was to render Kasumi powerless in her current rampage, all I could do is punch her or something. But I couldn't bring myself to do that. The one who put Kasumi through all this pain was me, so I couldn't resort to violence with her no matter the reason. If my death could bring Kasumi back to normal, I would gladly bite off my own tongue. And this wouldn't end until I stopped her? Screw that. There was no way in hell I could do that. Not a
目
chance.
覚ましてくれよお前が正気になってくれたら俺何でも言うこと聞くから
Please, wake up. If you come to your senses, I'll do whatever you ask of me.
正直たまにうざいとかうるさいとか思ってたけどそれでもお前には感謝してるこれ以上こんなものは見たくないんだ
Honestly, I found you loud and annoying from time to time, but I'm still grateful to you. I don't want to see you like this anymore.
かすみ頼むから
Kasumi, I'm begging you. I wanted to believe that her lack of response meant that my voice was getting through to her, that she had lost her willingness to fight. What was wrong with having the naive hope that she'd go back to normal once I reached out my hand and touched her on the shoulder? Even if... It resulted in this. My right arm was cut from the space between the middle and ring fingers all the way up to the tip of my shoulder. I needed to hold back my screams. Men weren't supposed to make a fuss. This pain was nothing. I took it as punishment for worrying all this time without ever noticing what she was up to, like a total dumbass. No, this was nowhere near enough. Okay. Well, I guess we'll end it here and see how much pain Ren can do in the next part. I hope you... No, I shouldn't say I hope you enjoyed it, because that shouldn't be something enjoyable. But still, I hope you liked what I did there. I don't know. You liked the video. Let's say it like that. I hope you liked the video. I'll see you next time. Bye!